Welcome to Life Her Podcast, the podcast that guides you from the 9-to-5 grind to the freedom of your own path. Discover how to conquer life's challenges while pursuing your passions with unwavering faith. Because being an entrepreneur is not easy. So let's get to it.
Hey everyone, I'm Yvette Lloyd, host of Life Her Podcast. I have two incredible guests, Candice and Nabeeh. They are the founders of Creator Junk Food, an award-winning multimedia creative studio based in Washington, D.C. With over 15 years of experience, Candice and Nabeeh have built their powerhouse agency specializing in brand animation, public art, and interactive design, and working with major institutions like different ones such as Howard University and ACLU DC. Their journey hasn't been without any challenges. Candice has suffered a massive stroke in 2023, which could have been everything but perfect. So we blesses to her, and also but through the resilience and the faith and the unbreakable partnership, they pushed forward and kept going with Go Go Museum and Marion Barry Legacy Public Arts and Project. Hey y'all, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having us. We're good.
Thanks for being on. I really appreciate y'all. Um, so with everything going on and you guys starting such an amazing brand, Candice and Nabeeh, you guys been running the Creative Junk Food together for over 15 years. Can you take us back to the beginning and how did this partnership come to life?
Well, Candice and I first met each other in high school at Duke Ellington in DC. It's a performing arts high school, so there's a lot of different art concentrations, dance, theater, instrumental music, and we met in the visual arts department. And we then went to college after that, and after college, we were, I think, just kind of really wanted to explore uh, creative our creative bounds, and the opportunity to animate music videos came up, and that's really where Creative Junk Food was born.
Yeah.
That's super dope. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you face when launching the Creative Junk Food, and how did you navigate them together?
Money.
Yeah, we just kind of, we, got started, doing, like I said, animation, music videos or whatever. So we got started doing that. Then we eventually did our PSAs, and did public arts, like workshops and stuff around the city. And then, you know what I'm saying? We just basically grew from there.
That's cool. So you guys been business partners and best friends for years. What makes you working together as a dynamic duo stay strong, and how do you handle creative differences?
I think just the understanding that, like, even though we started it, it's not really a situation where we have to be continually staying in the same roles that we started in.
Right.
Understanding that there's an evolution to it. If you're gonna grow, expand, if you're going to create more time for yourself, it means kind of keeping your ear to the street, if you will, and knowing that things are going to change, and you got to change with that. And I think that evolution and just being able to look back and think of the times that it was just the two of us, when it came down to getting a project done and overcoming some of the difficulties with that, that's always inspirational and helps you push through difficult times.
Yeah, that's true. So Candice, you suffered a massive stroke in June of 2023. Nabeeh, you have played a big role holding things together as far as in her recovery. How did his support help you navigate the challenging period of your life?
Honestly, like his support was kind of everything to me because, like I said, I was just going through something that was massive at the time. And it's still like a healing journey. So I still have a lot to, grow and do. and kind of, just show myself, that I can still kind of do it. It's like a long journey. It's, I'm far from being done. But I would say as far as like Nabeeh is concerned, is really like, I mean, he literally just kind of, like I said, he hold it down, when I was, and he kind of really kind of kept it going. So when I did come back, like I came back, to like, it was like I never left, and I feel like that's important for a partner to really kind of just, just like really, be there, be supportive. Like he came up to visit me, we took boxing together. I mean, we did everything, as far as just, even outside of the business relationship, it's just, he's my best friend. And yeah, I thank him every day for that. So
That's cool. That's a blessing for real. It's
Yeah.
hard to meet people like that.
And not to interrupt, but
You cool.
one thing that I found during that process is, entrepreneurship is hard enough in and of itself. And you have to think about so many people who may be solopreneurs or don't have a lot of support, or people who may become sick, injured, or deal with, tragedies in their own family. It's a lot of things that can like zap your mental health, your physical health, your inspiration to continue to do this stuff. And so, just during that period, I just saw how valuable like partnerships in the direct sense and in the abstract sense actually, help people to live well balanced and healthy lives. And nobody can tell you how to prepare for you what may be a tragic situation at some point in your life. And oftentimes you're questioning yourself, what do I do? Who do I have to become? And what's next, And so those are all questions that both Candice and I have been asking ourselves during and since that time. And, again, this goes back to keeping your ear to your own internal street, and also paying attention to, those around you, and being as attentive as best.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? You guys going through that, I admire you both for even just staying connected and keeping a friendship together. Sometimes people's egos get in the way, self-centered ways, and people taking things too personal or out of context. And it's a blessing to see that you both are still cool and still striving and still going.
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Yes. I mean, I just, like I said, like he, said, I feel so grateful, I said to have him, for his, his support or whatever. And like that just gave me, to, the strength I needed, to go on, to continue, So, and it's still, like I said, it's still a hidden journey, I'm still not where I, want to be, but I mean, I'm growing every day. So, and like I said, it's just a blessing to be alive. So I'm grateful for that.
Yes, it is. So, how did this experience change the way you approach leadership, teamwork, resilience, and in the creative industry? Because you guys have a whole nother, like a whole team with your company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we contract with a lot of people, but the people who we do work with, we do look at them as our team, because these are people who we found that we can trust and go back to, and can really, put their heart and soul into the projects that we work on. So I would say that one of the biggest things is to not have one point of failure. For example, just something as simple, if you're working in a digital space, something as simple as keeping your files in places where they're always accessible, whether you can get to them or not, but just not in one single place. Just really thinking about organization structures, really thinking about, having a list of people you can call when times do get tough. If you don't have enough bandwidth to get through a project, then you can reach out to people. It's so many things, obviously having a strong mindset, being able to draw back from points of frustration and have compassion for yourself, for other people. And just, leadership is not one way. Leadership isn't a hard straight through. Sometimes leadership is soft. Sometimes it's strategic. Sometimes it's whatever you be whatever you need to be when the time calls for you to be something and to stand up for something. To me, that's what leadership is. It's not really looking like, oh, I can't do it because of this or that. It's really being like, okay, what do I got to do? Who do I need to help me? Because you're not going to do it on your own.
Yeah, that's true. And you got to have the heart for it and also the compassion too. So you guys got that long lock already.
Yeah.
So you guys basically, can you tell us a little bit more about Creative Junk Food? What do you guys do? What do you offer? And like how passionate you are in the different spaces that you both do different things but come together with it.
Hmm. Well, I would say I'll start by saying what we used to say about Creative Junk Food. We used to say all the things we did. Okay, we could do animation, we could do graphic design, logos, websites, murals, whatever. But nowadays, simply to summarize it, Creative Junk Food is a branding and digital marketing agency. We're a small studio. We believe in small businesses. We believe in entrepreneurs, and we love to work with people who have brilliant ideas, whether they're filmmakers, whether they are chefs and bakers, whether they, are starting up an app. One of our central focuses going into this year is to get more into the food and beverage industry. I mean, hence our name, Creative Junk Food. It just kind of makes sense. But we really enjoy to see the people that we work with succeed. We don't really take pride in how much money we got for a project and what we're going to do next with this. It's all about making sure that the people that we work with succeed, because I'm not allowed to curse on this, am I?
You could be yourself.
Okay, because I was thinking about this when I run sometimes in the morning, and I was just thinking, man, we really give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, we're kind of like stuck to our clients when we work with them. Like, we don't just like abandon them in their time of need. Like, if they need something outside of what we may have agreed to, we're always willing to find a way to work with them, because at the end of the day, people don't put their lives into this stuff for it to only last for a little bit of time. People are trying to change their family trajectories. People are trying to cement their legacies and, just do something greater than themselves. And so I feel like we're a cog in just about anybody's machine in that regard, because we totally take on the mindset of the people who own the business, in the sense of like, this needs to succeed, this has to succeed, and people need to know about it.
Yeah, that's so true. Because, like, branding and marketing can be so difficult. And
Mm-hmm.
people like y'all that come in and help different brands will make life so much easier for us to be able to, like,
Yeah,
navigate our whole brand and stuff. Because so many people have ideas when they have a business and they have the vision and everything, but it really takes y'all to actually put it together and bring it to
yeah,
life and make it look so amazing and give us
yeah.
even the boost of confidence, because I'm telling you, the
It's
posting
hard.
those, oh my God,
It's hard. I
Man.
mean,
it is.
I was talking to somebody about this before. I'm like, even within ourselves, we probably paid over $30,000 to other entities to try and help us to do certain things, and seeing that and experiencing these things, I found where like you don't need as much as they think they're offering you. They're still offering some value, but might not be as much as they're charging for. So like, I kind of approach what we do even with that mindset of making sure that there's, the value aspect of it first, and making sure that it's not seen as solely a service that we do. We don't just come in and paint the walls and leave. Like, we assess the entire building. If we're looking at this metaphorically, we think about how this color communicates. We think about how, you can communicate that to people outside of the building, and just bring it back, because there's a lot of people who, you give them money and they do not care. They really,
So,
they only care about as much as they feel like they should. They don't wake up, they don't go to sleep with your problem on their mind and solutions for it. Like, and I feel like that's what we do. Like, and it could be stressful, But I think that's, that's kind of what we do. It's one of the values that we provide for people. It's like, yeah, let's be you stressful. Let's take some of that off in this regard, and you know, um, help you on this side of things because we want you to succeed.
Yeah, because it could be real difficult. It's really kind of like working with a contractor for your home.
Mm-hmm.
Like some
Yeah.
people be getting played sometimes
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to them receiving their video footage or
Yeah.
photos, graphics, logos. They do the bare minimum, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So it's pretty dope and it's pretty rare to find people like y'all that's just like so passionate with it and take that into consideration for real. That's really
Absolutely.
dope.
Yeah.
Huh. Thank you.
So your studio is known for pushing creative boundaries. How do you keep your ideas fresh and stay ahead of the fast evolving world of multimedia and design?
Hmm. Well, I mean, there's so many resources out there. Constantly kind of staying on YouTube University and seeing what people are, sharing, um, doing things that don't necessarily correlate to on paper to what we do. It could be, you could take a dance class and get inspired, for something. So just keeping life fresh, really. Like it's what you do outside of all this stuff, because you can. Everybody claims that they have an answer for this, that, and the third in the thing you do, but sometimes you have to step outside the thing you do for a fresh perspective and just understand life is always changing. Life is always evolving into, you know, something. So that's my take. I don't know, Candice, you can offer yours.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just like I said, what I'm saying, whether, it's going to the beach or going to a mountaintop or whatever, what I'm saying, it's about kind of creating a new experience, experience for you. And then, that in turn creates a new experience for the audience, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's like a balance, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's just like I said, it's like life is so worth living. And even,
Hmm.
what I'm saying, everything that's going on, it's just, I don't know, it's worth living. And like, I mean, honestly, like, and I feel like that's enough to
And
want, kind of keep wanting, what I'm saying, keep holding on.
and creativity is such an energy exchange
Yeah,
in that
right.
Yeah.
regard. So if you're uninspired creative, it's going to show in what you produce. And so like you have to find those pockets of inspiration to lend that to a project, even if it's the music you listen to in the morning that gets you in the right mode. So as a creative, that's kind of like one of the unsaid things that's happening is you're exchanging an energy and you're putting it into something, and people are interacting with that.
Yes, that is so true. Can you guys walk us through your process of taking a project from a concept to an execution, and how do you balance creativity with your client expectations?
Hmm. It depends on the project that we're doing. So
Mhm.
I can give you an example. Like if we're working on like a branding campaign that's going to involve multimedia, we're talking, they need a logo, they need graphics, they need maybe creative content, as well as maybe they want to do 3 animations within that help illustrate, their point further. The first thing is always discovery, and that is the investigative process where we're kind of getting to know as much about the people, the problem, and exploring like potential solutions and how we'll sort of do something. Like, is the animation going to be voiceover? Is it going to be completely just audio that guides this thing, sounds, what have you? Um, and then we start to kind of conceptualize a palette of like design. So that's where you get like style frames and design comps, kind of seeing what the client likes. And by the way, like we're signed up on a contract to start all this stuff. Like we
Right.
always start our projects with a contract. And side note, sometimes when you start a business, especially a creative one, you want to be mindful of the clients you work with, because sometimes your clients can train you in a bad way, and you can train your clients in a bad way. So there's always teaching moments when it comes to this stuff at times, just respectfully, obviously. But we've dealt with people who didn't understand that part. But if you want to keep your business structured and you want to get to ultimately where you're going to be, you want to be training yourself in the right methods and practices. But yeah, so with that conceptualization process and getting agreement from the clients, then we go into like our design and execution. And along the way, there's always approvals and things like that we have with our clients. So multiple steps in there. And because we do, like I said, we do multiple things, there isn't, one straightforward process that I could say about it. But, if I did have to summarize it, it's discovery, concept design, getting approvals, then kind of taking the best of the concept and then turning that into the actual design that's going to be relayed. And then from there, you start building out, we call them assets. And then you put those in their proper format. Animations, we're talking timelines, designs, we're talking, putting those in the proper formats, whether you're using Photoshop, Canva, InDesign, whatever that may be. And then, you prepare for your launch and your rollout. And I think that's one of the biggest parts that creatives, especially if you're in the creative director seat, you have to implore to your client that you're a part of, because if they don't have a strategic marketing team or a strategic creative team, a lot of times they're just going to put it out on Instagram or on their website, and it's just going to get buried and they don't know what to do with it. So you really want to be in those stages of, kind of designing and concepting. You want to be getting your client to understand that those different platforms that things are going to live on, and how they're going to get the most mileage out of it, so that your work isn't done in vain and they're not paying money for something that's not going to come back to them.
Yeah, that's true. So when many creatives struggle, because I know a lot of them that do.
Mm-hmm.
So when they struggle with the business side of their work, pricing, scaling, and building a sustainable brand, what
Mm-hmm.
are some of the key lessons you've learned about running a successful creative agency?
Yeah. I would just say the frustration is unavoidable. Like, you're always going to feel like, oh, they're not paying me my worth. They don't want to pay me my worth. I think one thing is to know the value that you're providing so that you can communicate that clearly to the client, and ask questions. Like if somebody throws out a number, or wants you to throw out a number, people often say don't be the first person to throw out the number. First person throws out the number loses. But sometimes the first person who throws out the number sets the tone. But you want to ask that with the right questions. And sometimes there are clients who you don't actually want. You might not want them because the truth of the matter is they may not understand the value of their project. Hence, they may not be able to afford what it is that you do, and you're not going to do a good job because you're going to be resentful the whole time you're doing it. You want to avoid that part of it. But I think the main thing is assess the value that you are providing, understand the value that the client is expecting to get out of that, so that the conversation is much more informed and not, like you're doing a deal on the corner somewhere, because that's not what it is. This is your life. This is their life. You're spending weeks at a time on this when you could be, hanging out on a beach somewhere, But yeah, have your processes in place. Understand, ask questions, and just really assess, and qualify your clients too. Like, clients will qualify you. You got to qualify your clients. Is this the right client for me? Like, don't just see a bag of money and go for it, because you could be miserable holding on to that bag.
That is true. So what are some of the biggest misconceptions about being a Black entrepreneur and creatives in this space?
I don't know. Probably that we do it for free, and that's kind of not the case. That's always a perk to it. And so that's a common misconception. But then also that like as part of like I guess like with the whole Black experience or whatever, like just like we're just I don't know, we're just kind of, you know what I'm saying, down and out really, like they're just not a spot for us. You know what I'm saying? A spot for where we can kind of, you know, show ourselves, you know what I'm saying, as far as what we do and who we are. And so and that's why I feel like yeah, maybe I don't know, like
I mean, I think, kind of piggybacking on that, like sometimes you can be pigeonholed and sort of like, oh, well, they look like they only do Black things. But I think the caveat with that is a lot of people work within their networks. And, if you don't have the network with other people, say of other ethnicities or whatever like that, then, your work is going to present a certain way. I mean, I come back to, at the end of the day, what's good is good. And if, I think if you're working with a specific type of clientele, say, for example, you're working with people who are in the sports industry, then I think it's going to appeal to that sports crowd. But I think one way to so here's my thing. One thing I know dealing with people is you're not going to get anybody to change their mind that doesn't want to change their mind, right? So if you're trying to fight this battle of I'm trying to change the perception of how you view me, if how I am presenting myself shouldn't be a problem, then really am I communicating with the people who really rock with what I do, right? So I think that's where it's important to not always be so general in what you do, to have a focus. That way you're not going after white clients or Asian clients or Latino clients or Black clients. You're going after sneaker clients. You're going after movie directors. You're going after this. So get real focused in what you do and make what you do good. And then another common misperception I think that could happen with Black creatives is that you're supposed to do all the work yourself, your hands. Like not only are you supposed to be the creative director, but you're supposed to be the animator, the illustrator, the designer, the web developer, the painter, all these things that takes entire teams of people to do, so that you can free up your bandwidth to see the overall picture and guide and direct. And I mean, I think that's one of the things that where Candice and I have gotten to within Creative Junk Food is it's not about our hands producing this stuff. We've done it already. We've worked till, we've done our day jobs and come home at night and been up till 6 a.m. the next day doing a project. Like there's no point in us doing that anymore. We know what it means to execute, but now we're directing more. We're making sure all the components and the pieces come together. We're understanding the client's needs. We're understanding the business of it all, not solely just the execution. It's our job to bring everybody together and make a cohesive product and a cohesive effort. It's like when you see Beyonce, people don't realize you're not looking at Beyonce. I don't know her middle name, Knowles. You're looking at a business, and there are many tiny people inside of that business making it run, and she's the face of it, right? She doesn't do it by herself, but she presents as that because she encapsulates the brand, Yeah. And so that's the thing that's the thing I really push for when it comes to just creatives in general, and particularly Black creatives. Like you can't be 50 years old doing the same thing you were doing when you were 25. Like you got to spend time with your family. You got to be planning for retirement. You got to get some freaking sleep, for God's sakes. You know what I'm saying? So like that, anybody who wants to pigeonhole you and, oh, well, do you do this? Do you do that? That's where you gotta reroute the question, find out what their concerns are. What's your concern here? Because if you're looking for somebody who can just do a task that you want to direct, then you can go on one of these online marketplaces and struggle with that.
That's true. Yeah. So you both believe in mentorship and uplifting the next generation of artists. How do you incorporate mentorship into your business, and why is it so important?
Yeah. We have had a number of interns over the years in different aspects of our business. And I feel like we're always looking to pay it forward. Like when we see, somebody who's talented but is looking for opportunity, I think it reminds us of ourselves. And so, we will work with those people. We'll, see what they can do. And, sometimes these people end up far surpassing us. And that's a beautiful thing. Like one of our animators that we work with is a kid he graduated from Bowie State University in Maryland. And his name is Keith. And he's become a great, great animator, motion graphics artist. And when Candice went down, there was a project that we did for the group Little Brother. And that was a very short turnaround project. And I was able to hit Keith up and be able to explain to him what I wanted to happen in this. And he was able to really kind of run with it. Whereas somebody else, I would have had to do so much more work with them, on that. So it's a beautiful thing to just see how far people like that have grown. And then some of our other interns that work at places like Cartoon Network, or another one of our interns who just graduated from Howard with a computer science degree, who's helped out on website related projects. It's great to know that we're making an impact in the lives of somebody whose journey is just starting, who's probably going to be able to do the same thing for somebody else,
Yeah, that is super dope. So after 15 years in business, what's the next creative junk food and basically like their upcoming projects or big goals?
I would say, I'll say this and I'll let Candice speak her piece on it. But I would say that, we're putting much more of a focus into the digital marketing aspect and the marketing strategy, because we see that we can give people a great product, but they may not always know what to do with it. It's like giving somebody a Lamborghini and never teaching them how to drive. Yeah. Disaster is going to happen, or it's going to sit in the garage forever. And so we want to help bring it full surface for people. We're putting more of a focus, and we'll still help small businesses, but I think our primary focus is going to be within the food and beverage industry, and even looking at that aspect from a public art standpoint, like what we do outside of the client requests and things like that. And yeah, we're in the process of doing much more marketing to let people know, for ourselves, to let people know about Creative Junk Food and people behind it, who we worked with, and planning to release a couple of projects this year, in particular one called Sammy the Saver, which is a financial literacy comic book character who we created. And there's going to be a few stories about that, and those are going to be really fun. And yeah, more intellectual property, more just being in front of this and really claiming our spot in the creative world of branding and marketing.
Yeah. It's so crazy. I have a lot of friends that do creative and marketing and a lot of things like that. And y'all be so dope, but y'all do not post nothing. Like sometimes it's so hard because it's like sometimes it seems like you guys get in your own way sometimes, or you just do so much work, you be focused on your clients. And then at that, when you have such a dope business, when you know you could do it, you dope, it's like you just do it whenever you want to. Sometimes do y'all find yourselves being that way?
I mean, yes, I think we, do sometimes get in our little hole a little bit, what I'm saying, to just kind of focus on the client and, say what they want. And we sometimes forget about ourselves.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like, what I'm saying, now, what I'm saying, with, with Instagram, what I'm saying, and, what I'm saying, stuff like that, I feel like we, what I'm saying, we're getting there, what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely recognize that it's a part that's missing from the business. And, we'll try and do certain things, like every now and again, we'll do something, but, consistency is key, and communication is even bigger than that. So I just think that a lot of times you do get a lot of sort of small studios and small entrepreneurs, solopreneurs that are really putting their heart and soul into these projects. And when they're done, they're tired, they're spent, or they're on to the next one. And it's like, there's no time to hey, I did this, I'm great, I'm awesome. But I think it's just more how we think about it, changing the way we think about it, understanding that, like, a lot of creatives, not all of them, but a lot of creatives are introverts, and
Yeah.
especially those who are artists. And introverts obviously are not going to be. The idea of being in front of a camera and on a microphone can make people self-conscious. It could be like, well, I don't want to grab attention or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we could psych ourselves out of it, and just, maybe you do one video and like, oh, I only got 10 likes on this, but the point is to keep going and keep getting better and keep providing value. So it's like, if you understand what you're doing is providing value, you're going to look at it differently. Like, it's a difference of understanding, okay, I'm feeding people nourishment, something that's going to help them grow, versus, oh, I'm feeding them trash. So, I'm kind of embarrassed if, people realize that, so get clear on what it is that you want to communicate, whether that's visual, whether that's spoken, whether it's a mixture of both or whatever. And I think, you get outside of your head.
Yeah. I struggle with that myself. I struggle with it so bad. Especially I'm an introvert, so it's kind of weird when I do podcasting and talking to people all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
on the outside, I don't do absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I find too, like with introverts, because I'm a board member with an organization called AIGADC. So I would put on like events and things like that. And whenever I think about events, I'm thinking about the introverts, the extroverts, the whatever. And a lot of times introverts don't like to be in a place where there isn't kind of like some type of segmentation. Okay, if I don't know anybody here, I could at least kind of go over here and not look stupid and like pretend to be on my phone. So I'm always like think, okay, well, if you're not going to talk to anybody, all right, you can sit here and draw, or you could attend this breakout session, or you can, listen to the music that's playing or whatever. So I think when you're an introvert, you kind of have to have an assignment in a way for social interaction in some ways and then, hey, maybe get comfortable in that. So like interviews might be a bit more comfortable, even being an introvert, because you kind of have an assignment that's like, oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm not just standing around looking awkward or twiddling my thumbs or trying to figure out how to make conversation with people. No, this is like the assignment is conversation. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, that is so true. So if you could give one piece of advice to creatives navigating personal and professional challenges, what would it be?
I mean, so I would say that every step is a journey, like, you know what I'm saying? And honestly, like, you know what I'm saying, with what I've been through and, you know what I'm saying, how I come up, you know what I'm saying, to where I had today, you know what I'm saying? I feel like honestly it's a journey, it's about healing. It's also about kind of, you know what I'm saying, like strapping on your boots, you know what I'm saying, and really just kind of getting out there, you know what I'm saying, just getting some type of motivation, some type of encouragement, you know what I'm saying, just some type of strength, you know what I'm saying, and honestly, I don't know, it's just about, I don't know, it's about hope, you know what I'm saying, it's about, you know what I'm saying, it's about, you know what I'm saying, what it's going to take to make your dreams come true, you know what I'm saying, and that goes across the board, you know what I'm saying, no matter what, you know what I'm saying, we, you know, are born to do. It's just about like, how do you make, you know what I'm saying, your dreams come to fruition. And I feel like honestly, yeah, for us, you know what I'm saying, it's about being creative, you know what I'm saying, like this is our journey, and you know what I'm saying, I mean, we're on it right now, and like even, you know, like I said, like I'm still here, it's a process, it's a, you know what I'm saying, it's a long journey, but I don't know, it's just a statement to like everybody, you know what I'm saying, that hey, we can all make it, you know what I'm saying, and it's really just, it's nothing too about to do it, you know what I'm saying, just like,
Yeah. I mean, I would there's a few things that I would recommend that creatives do. Like, make sure, I would say, try and meet at least 2 or 3 people who are kind of in your industry. Like, you don't have to do it in the, blunt force networking or whatever, but try and connect with a couple people who you can kind of communicate with at times, when you maybe need some perspective on something, or maybe even when you need to hire somebody else. So maybe get with an organization, a design organization in your city, or an arts organization, because you never know what those things will open up, and you never know when you're going to need like those connections, especially if a big opportunity comes your way and you feel like, I don't know if I can handle that. So yeah, definitely, have a few people in your network if possible. I would also say that, going through challenging things in life is going to happen. And, it's easy to say, okay, be patient with yourself. But, obviously we never know what anybody's up against, what deadlines they may have to deal with, if the bills are on their back or whatnot. But I think that goes back to trying to establish some type of network, because at some point, when you're all in your head and you're by yourself, you're going to go crazy because you can't do it by yourself. And you're out here trying to figure out how to do it by yourself. And you just fucking can't. You kill yourself trying to do that. And, so it's just like, hey, release that pressure that's building up a little bit, and try to be as resourceful as you can, and, step outside of your comfort zone, before it becomes dire. And try to surround yourself with as much positive reinforcement as you can, because there's a lot of negativity out there that's going to be threatening to drain it. Like, to me, it's an up and down thing. At one moment, positivity is here and negativity is down here, but they kind of start competing, and sometimes they're there, and you could just be like, man, I suck. Nobody likes my shit. I'm just nobody. Every time I give out a price, people say it's too much. I'm terrible apparently, because this person is making millions of dollars, and I feel like I could be just as good, and they're not. Just like, sometimes you have to, get outside of that, change the script. And, within all of these problems that we face, there is one common denominator, and that's us. And that's not to say that we're wrong, but it's to understand, well, what can I do better before I could tell someone else to do better? Or, you know what I mean? And doing better could mean not dealing with these people no more. It could be, taking a whole different route. So, and I think that's the power of having, that network, because you have somebody like me or Candice in your network. We would tell you something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I could be down all week and feeling some kind of way, but when somebody calls me to ask me about my take on it, I get like this, and then I get inspired, and they get inspired. And it's like, yeah, let's go take on the world. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I can see that too. I can. So that's super dope, because like in this type of industry, it can be really difficult. It can be really discouraging sometimes. And it's like, damn, like when can I have my moment, because you know how dope you really are. So it's like that opportunity, and then y'all been putting in work for so many years. So it's just like, it just takes those blessings, but sometimes we gotta cherish those little small ones,
for
you
sure.
know and it's a stepping stone, and people be watching, and you'll be surprised. I'd be surprised sometimes of some of the people watching, or some of the people that's even following me that I didn't even know that was following me. But it's just like, it's gonna the moments will come, and we just gotta cherish them.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, everybody's looking for inspiration. That's one thing I noticed. Like, we're all looking for it. And we're not looking for it solely so we could hear somebody talk about themselves. We're looking for it to empower ourselves. We're looking for that rocket fuel that's going to help us, get up when we're feeling down, because you need that. You just need somebody, you down this way. You need those words that's going to make you raise your eyebrows and be like, oh, word? For real?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't even think about it that way. And yeah, and that's the thing. Like, understand, you're creative, which means your thinking is boundless. And just like, man, I'm struggling here. Where is it less of a struggle? Or how can I make it less of a struggle? Or, how can I get a small victory that can have a big impact? You know what I mean? Like, like what? And sometimes, like, I think too, like, we spend so much time in service to others that we do. A lot of us forget what we can do for ourselves, because you spend so much time thinking on behalf of other people. And sometimes you need to take that time out to go think for yourself. What can you do? Okay, like, there's options, and maybe you gotta go for a walk around the lake. Maybe you need to go for a drive. Just do something that's not the thing that you've been butting your head up against, so you can hopefully see something different.
Yeah, because it creates us to be like really hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you just be like, dang, why am I like this? And then you start
Hmm.
figuring out everything else that's wrong instead of looking
Hmm.
at the right.
Yeah. Like reasons why I'm lame, 1, 2, 3, versus like, damn, reasons why I'm great. Just that. If you spent time on that, if you just said today, this is when I'm starting my day with reasons why I'm great, or the things I want to do great, versus, God damn, I'm so lame. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep. I do the same thing. I feel that.
yeah.
That is so cool. So where can people connect with you and learn more about your guys' work?
Yeah. They can go to our website, www.creativejunkfood.com, or they could check up on us on Instagram at CreativeJunkFood. And Twitter is at CreativeJunkFood with the 8 in place of the usual. And then LinkedIn, Creative Junk Food as well too.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thank y'all so much for being on my podcast show. I really appreciate y'all.
Yep,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for tuning in to Life Heard Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and also the all major platforms. You can listen to it as well on audio. Thanks. Have a blessed one.
Welcome to Life Her Podcast, the podcast that guides you from the 9-to-5 grind to the freedom of your own path. Discover how to conquer life's challenges while pursuing your passions with unwavering faith. Because being an entrepreneur is not easy. So let's get to it.